In that secret cave in the bowels of Vormitha Dress abides the eldermost eons, the god Tsathoggua. You shall know Tsathoggua by his great girth and his bat-like furriness, and the look of a sleepy black toad which he has eternally. He will rise not from his place, even in the ravening of hunger, but will wait in divine slothfulness for the sacrifice. Greetings, listeners. We're back once again to talk to you about the Cthulhu mythos, its books, its monsters, its unfortunate human casualties, its timeline in general, and even its tangential bits like the Dreamlands, or things of a weird nature, or things that are Lovecraftian leaning, weird fiction, science fiction, horror. Learn of terrible meetings in lonely places, of cyclopean ruins and vast staircases that lead down to abysses of nighted secrets, of complex angles that lead through invisible walls to other regions of space and time, and of hideous explorations in remote and forbidden places, on other worlds, and in different time-space continua. From the creation of our galaxy to the death of the sun, this is an exploration of the Cthulhu mythos from the perspective of humans' concept of history. We are the people's guide to the Cthulhu mythos. You can find us at PGTTCM.com, PGTTCM.podbean.com, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The People's Guide to the Cthulhu mythos starts now.
The People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. Season 8.
803 series
8.
episode
3.
Tsathoggua. Written and edited by Daniel Spitzer, audio by Sara and Daniel Spitzer, music by Kevin MacLeod. Help the show by sharing, rating, liking, or 5-star giving wherever you listen to or rate podcasts. Support the show by hitting the Patreon button at pgttcm.podbean.com or by going to paypal.me/pgttcm. Buy a cool shirt from pgttcm.threadless.com. PGTTCM is part of the Dark Myths Collective. Learn more at darkmyths.org, and don't forget to visit pgttcm.com. So, Tsathoggua, you say?
Tsathoggua. Going to be talking about Clark Ashton Smith creation Tsathoggua.
Yeah. Well, I just had a kind of a crash course in Tsathoggua last weekend. Yeah, when we were at the HPL Lovecraft Film Festival. Like, I'd heard of him, of course, but I didn't know so much about him. But then we saw this amazing, pretty fun documentary.
Oh, yeah. Clark Ashton Smith, Emperor of Dreams.
Yeah. You're looking up about the film in the Daily Lurker, which is the, publication that they put out for the HP Lovecraft Film Festival in CthulhuCon.
Yeah, just saw my name.
Yeah. It's really cool. You were a guest there?
I was a guest there. I was on a poetry reading, and then I was also one of the artists participating in Pickman's Apprentice.
That was really fun to watch. You did a monotype, which is a really fun kind of on-the-go printing.
Yeah, it's kind of like a squashed painting.
Your picture turned out beautifully, and
I liked it.
Yeah, and it was really fun to watch you compete against the likes of Lee Rainey Smith and Heather Hudson and Lee Moyer, and then that other guy. I mean, we can look it up right here in the Daily Lurker.
Monstark.
The Daily Lurker is really fun because it is basically really just like the program for the film festival, but they produce it like it's a newspaper. And the cover has stories in it as if stuff is happening. Like it's reporting on things.
But it's reporting on things that happen in movies.
That's right. It's I saw some good films. I saw some good short films, and I saw 2 films that I really, really enjoyed. One was The Rules of Ruin, which was in Spanish, so its actual title is Las Reglas de Ruina. Las Reglas de Runa, which it was amazing because I'm not fluent in Spanish at all, but my son is, and it's really interesting to hear all this Spanish being used. And, like, oh, I know what that means. And I know what that means.
Yeah, it's also you're hearing Spanish that doesn't include like the Power Rangers theme song.
Right. Or this morning they were watching Turbo, which is this cartoon show about a snail that has the superpower of moving really fast.
Oh, okay.
And its theme song is Este caracol es muy veloz, which means that snail's really fast.
Okay.
It's really cool. Okay, it's not very cool, but it's fun. Fun for me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What else did you see? Anything else cool?
Oh yeah, I saw a block of shorts.
Ooh.
There was some cool stuff. I saw Chimera. It was sort of a science fiction film about this guy who is a scientist and his family's sick and he's trying to save his children by like reprogramming their DNA with the immortal jellyfish DNA.
Ooh.
Yeah, and there's this like other really unscrupulous scientists that are trying to like not stop him, but like have him do it within their realm so they can save lives. Anyway, it's pretty amazing, and it stars Henry Ian Cusack from Lost. I mean, he was in some other stuff too, obviously. You don't just have one credit on your IMDb.
Sure. Who do you play on Lost?
He played Desmond.
Okay.
It's a good film. I think you would actually enjoy it because it's creepy and sort of like intense, but without being gory or anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It was really interesting.
I saw some pretty cool stuff myself.
Oh yeah? What'd you see?
I saw the H.P. Lovecraft Historical Society perform The Shadow over Innsmouth, which was an amazing, amazing production.
Oh man, I remember when I saw them last year do The Thing on the Doorstep. That was pretty darn amazing too.
Yeah.
And I only wish that I could have seen The Shadow over Innsmouth.
It was pretty good. I also saw Intro by Mr. Ken Hite, some Night Gallery episodes that were pretty awesome. There was Cool Air, and there was Pickman's Model, which is so good. It actually won like a Emmy or a Golden Globe for its makeup work on that episode, which for I guess the late 60s, early 70s was quite amazing. But if you saw it, you'd be like, oh my god, that's where that drawing of Pickman or that image of like ghouls from Pickman comes from. It's that thing. But yeah, it was really, really fun. And then we saw
the
documentary about Clark Ashton Smith. That was so good.
It was so good. And it was really interesting, of course, to see. I mean, like 6 of the people who were interviewed in that film were at the film festival.
Yeah,
which was really neat.
Yeah, no, and
and when we were at the Hippocampus Press poetry reading together.
Yes.
We sat across from the filmmaker himself, the documentarian.
We chatted a little bit about Tsathoggua even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's going to listen to our podcast someday. So hi!
I hope he does.
I saw Corpse, but I wasn't able to finish it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was an interesting sort of psychological film. The acting was but the atmosphere and the use of effects was really effective. It's sort of a King in Yellow thing.
Ooh.
So there's like this creeping disease, and this woman is going crazy. She keeps seeing people dressed all in yellow with like a mirror over their face. It's some pretty intense stuff.
Cool.
Yeah, and there's this part where she goes and consults with somebody who's like a fortune teller, and they have messed up this person's voice so that they sound like a machine, and not like a robot, but like literally like the sound is as they speak, and they have subtitles for him, which is nice.
We'd like to thank you for listening to People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. Our sponsor is BunnySlippers.com, your finest source of wonderful Cthulhu slippers and cool shirts from FoundItemClothing.com, your favorite shirts from your favorite cult films, and also these fine folks.
Nice. Then you can understand it, but it's like obviously a voice filter. Yeah. I
knew something I did because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to see the shorts blocks and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Is I actually I was going to be going to the festival, but I also wanted to be able to support it on Kickstarter and get a bunch of cool stuff. So what I did is I did the virtual ticket for the festival, and I highly recommend it because then you can later go on to Vimeo and punch in a little password, which I'm not telling you what my password is,
nope,
dudes, and watch like the opening ceremonies with Necronominal. Is that what?
Yeah, I think it's Necronominal. Yeah, they're Japanese. They're really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so they were really cool, and you'd see them walking around and be like, "Oh, hey, there's that J-pop group that's at the festival this year."
It was pretty darn fun.
It was funny. And
one of them had a plastic spider on her cheek as her part of her costume.
Yeah?
Yeah, and so like she's just walking around with a plastic spider on her cheek.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I agree.
And
quite the commitment to art.
Yeah, and there was also the 125 years of Clark Ashton a discussion with various people who know poetry and Clark Ashton Smith. That's on there.
Yeah.
And several of the shorts blocks and a bunch of other stuff keeps going up. So it's a good way if you can't make it to the festival to see what the festival's about and what's going on and all the cool people who are there. And also you're supporting the festival, and you know, the Kickstarter is what gets it kick-started.
Yeah, which makes it able to actually happen.
Yeah. Or if you're someone like me who's going to the festival and you know that you're going to be on panels and running around doing stuff.
Busy all the time.
Yeah, and you know that you're not getting a chance to watch those shorts.
Yeah.
This is definitely the way to do it. I said what I was doing and what my plan was to like several people, and they're like, I wish I would have done that. I'm going to do that next year.
Well, because they re-show the shorts blocks, but they only really do that like twice. So there's the first time they show the shorts block 1, and then there's the second time, and that's it. And if you can't make it to either of those showings because they're showing something else you'd like to see, or there's a panel discussion you want to participate in, or you're in a panel, then it's really nice. And there's so much going on. Like they have it on the schedule, they have 5 every day. There's 5 things going on at once, at least, and sometimes there's more than 5.
Yeah, and a lot of the time I'd find myself, it'd be like, I would be in one room, in the next room over was something going on that I wanted to be a part of, or I was a part of something, and then there was something going on in the next room that it's like, well, okay, as soon as I'm done reading poetry, I get to grab all my stuff and pack up my computer and then run as fast as we can across the EOT.
Right? Which, I mean, that was like, it was nice that we were in the same building for that. But what was too bad is that you couldn't like sit down and watch your fellow authors and poetry readers do their thing.
Yeah, and I'm sure that would have been the more polite thing to do. But
yes, but it would have also, meant that you couldn't do the things you wanted to do.
Yeah. And what I wanted to do was go check out the
125 years of Clark Ashton Smith.
Oh, one of my favorite things that I saw was Lee Moyer was showing like unintentional bad book art covers.
Oh, yeah.
And like all the ways that you can like be a bad graphic designer.
I saw that in the schedule. Was it good?
It was amazing. And like a terrible artist and like implied lines, and it's like this looks like this thing has a penis when it's not supposed to. This person looks like they have an ant antenna. And then I realized that it was a street lamp, or it was this woman's eyebrow. It was just like really, really, really like hilarious. Just kind of like,
unintentional. Is it a vase? Is it a young lady?
Yes. And it was very like the 1970s paperback book covers for science fiction stories, and 1980s fantasy covers, and just terrible terrible book covers. Some are just like hilarious. Some are just like, he showed ones that everyone was familiar with because they're like classic H.P. Lovecraft book covers that everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Oh yeah, I had that. And then it's like, no, these are the good ones. All right, let's get going.
Oh man.
And it was tremendous. So if you ever run across I've seen something about it online in the past, and if you ever run across it at a convention or a festival or anything like that, definitely check it out. It is hilarious.
Yeah, well, Lee Moyer is such a nice person too. And he also participated in Lovecraft Squares.
I was supposed to participate, but I got up to go use the bathroom, and then when I came back, it was all set up, and I didn't want to cause a fuss or anything like that. So I participated in the audience,
which was also really fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah,
and it was
like Hollywood Squares.
It was like Hollywood Squares, but it was a bunch of people. And from the Lovecraft community, and Richard Stanley was there, and
Ken Hite,
Cody Goodfellow, Scott Glancy was there.
Wow.
Andrew Migliori, or Andrew. Oh man, the festival founder.
Yeah, he was the host.
Yeah, he was the host.
Yeah.
And just scattered about all kinds of various people who were doing stuff for Lovecraft stuff that year, or had a movie and whatnot. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It really was. The whole thing was fun. And man, if you can make it to Portland next October, come to the festival.
Oh yeah.
Because only Saturday sold out this year.
Sure. Yeah. Only Saturday sold out this year. And you know, if you're coming to the festival, or if you've been to the festival in the past, you're coming from outside of town and stuff like that, ask me cool places to go or eat or whatever, and I'll always have suggestions. Whether or not they'll be helpful, I'll have suggestions.
Tsathoggua is an entity in the Cthulhu mythos' shared fictional universe. He is the creation of American writer Clark Ashton Smith and is part of the Hyperborean cycle. Tsathoggua is described as an old one, a godlike being from the pantheon. He was introduced in Smith's short story, The Tale of Spermjackers, written in 1929 and published in the November 1931 issue of Weird Tales. His first appearance in print, however, was in H.P. Lovecraft's story, The Whisperer in Darkness, written in 1930 and published in the August 1931 issue of Weird Tales.
The basin was filled with a sort of viscous and semi-liquescent substance, quite opaque and of a sooty color. The center swelled as if with the action of some powerful yeast, and an uncouth, amorphous head with dull and bulging eyes arose gradually on an ever-lengthening neck. Then 2 arms, if one could call them arms, likewise arose inch by inch, and we saw that the thing was not a creature immersed in the liquid, but that the liquid itself had put forth its hideous neck and hand, and it was now forming arms that groped towards us with tentacle-like appendages in lieu of claws or hands. Then the whole mass of the dark fluid began to rise and pour over the rim of the basin, in the basin like a torrent of black quicksilver, taking as it reached the floor an undulant ophidian form, which immediately developed more than a dozen short legs. Clark Ashton Smith, The Tale of Spermjackers.
Tsathoggwa's will is carried out by the formless spawn, polymorphic entities made of black ichor. They are extremely resilient and very difficult to dispatch. Formless spawn can take any shape and can attack their targets in nearly every conceivable way. They are surprisingly flexible and plastic-like and can quickly flow into a room through the tiniest of cracks. They attack by trampling their targets, biting them, or crushing them with their grasp. Formless spawn often rest in basins in Tsathoggwa's temples and keep the sanctuary from being defiled by non-believers. In The Mound, the people of the subterranean world of Knyan had once worshipped Tsathoggua until a scientific expedition exploring Nakai encountered the formless spawn. Those who escaped had all the images of Tsathoggua destroyed, and his temple rededicated to Shub-Niggurath. In his story At the Mountains of Madness, H.P. Lovecraft stated that a few daring mystics have hinted at a pre-Pleistocene origin for the fragmentary Nicotic manuscripts and have suggested that the devotees of Tsathoggua were as alien to mankind as Tsathoggua itself. Okay, Sperm Jackers from Hell by Christine Morgan. Not for the squeamish. A little content warning here. This book has a lot of non-consensual sex and sort of gross ideas about consent and about what should be allowed or what is allowed in sex, and a lot of juvenile ideas, not young people, like not kids, but young adults, really young adults, like 20. If that is something that triggers you, please don't listen to the rest of this review or read the book. Okay. A group of 6 kids in their early 20s, the scum of a newly ritzy town with nothing to do but smoke weed, drink beer, and wish they were getting laid, decide to summon a cute, sexy, biddable succubus to fulfill their sexy fantasies. With info from the internet, they are able to hurtle headlong off a metaphysical cliff and summon all the psychosexual chameleons they want. The only problem is the succubi, blue glowing vagina slugs, have plans of their own, involving the collection of sperm and jizz in general. The slugs, get into your dreams and want you to ejaculate into them, and then they take that back to the hive and build a hive, and then it looks like there's going to be a sequel about incubus, which is the male equivalent of a succubus apparently, and I'm not really into female body horror or that kind of stuff. So anyway, this book is published by Eraserhead and written by Christine Morgan, and it's a fun little romp about drug using kids and the bad things that happen to you when you want to summon a sex slave from a hell dimension. No one gets out of here unfucked.
Okay, here we are at the end of the show.
Okay, here we are.
So, what did we learn about today? We learned about
Tsathoggua, Clark Ashton Smith, the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival.
Sperm Jackers from Hell.
Sperm Jackers from Hell, yeah.
Yeah.
And what might be coming in the future for as far as book reviews.
Oh, yeah. And if you have any books that you would like reviewed, if you're in an anthology or if you have something that you have been published through a publisher, definitely go to PGTTCM.com, hit the contact button, track us down at PGTTCM.com at Gmail, or PGTTCM at gmail.com, and Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah. You can get a hold of us and we can look at your book.
Yeah. And, hopefully we'll review it. Mm-hmm. And also, if you've got a periodical, if you've got a poetry journal, and if it relates to weird fiction, the Cthulhu mythos, Gothic romance,
horror, science fiction,
classic horror, any of that kind of stuff, we'll take a look at it, and if we like it, we'll review it.
Yeah. And then also, if you are an author and you want to come on the show and talk to us about your work, we can get a hold of us for that too. We can talk to you about, if we like it, we'd love to talk to you about it.
Certainly. If you're a filmmaker, if you're a musician, we had Maxie and Gold on a couple of episodes back talking about Azathoth and that musical that he's working on.
Yes. Yes.
So and soon I'm currently talking to some folks who are doing a video game about the Cthulhu mythos. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be pretty cool when that comes out. And you'll hear a little bit more about that in about a month or so when they hook me up with a PlayStation 4 copy.
Yay!
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So that's a bunch of cool stuff to look forward to in the future. You can always support the show by going to paypal.me audible.me/PGTTCM. You can always do the Audible trial at audibletrial.com/PGTTCM. If, you've heard us talk about it before. If you want to support the show, support the show. And also, I want to give a special shout out to a guy named Gary who listens to us while he commutes.
Yeah, Gary. Hey.
Gary in Southern California. It was good to meet you. And that was at the HP Lovecraft Film Festival at the Hippocampus Press poetry reading where they serve absinthe. Ooh.
I tell you, the poetry reading for Hippocampus Press is like the secret level of the HPL Lovecraft HPL Film Fest, because it's not in any of the regular buildings and it's during a break.
Yes.
So it's a good thing to go to. It's nice because they have it catered, and like DB just said, they give you a drink token for absinthe.
Yes.
And then they sugar it up for you.
Oh yeah. Last year I brought donuts. I did not bring donuts this year.
Yeah, but next year's probably going to be donuts.
Next year, who knows?
Yeah, we'll just see how that goes.
Hey, you know what I think people should really do?
What?
They should
stay squiggly
and keep it weird. People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos is brought to you by BunnySlippers.com, FoundItemClothing.com, edited and produced by DB Spitzer, audio by DB Spitzer and Sara. This episode was written by DB Spitzer and Sara. Music by Kevin MacLeod.
People's Guide to the Cthulhu Mythos. PGTTCM.com, PGTTCM.podbean.com, PGTTCM.threadless.com. Blah.